Studio Q, Queen Student Television program is brought to you in part by Procter & Gamble, continuing a long tradition of hiring Queen students. And by Kingston area McDonald's restaurants. You can enjoy all your McDonald's favorites by calling 1-800-663-2233 for McDonald's delivery in Kingston. All you have to do is call and let McDonald's do the rest.
And I'm Abbey, and welcome to another exciting episode of Studio Q. It's our first episode back after reading week, and we hope you all had a great, relaxing reading week and are really happy to be back at school.
Right in the middle of midterms and the rest of it.
Let the good times roll.
But to liven you up, we've got a great show lined up this week. We'll be looking at Battle of the Bands, which began this week and will be going on for the next 3 weeks down at Alfie's, where Graham and I are tonight, so be sure to come and check that out. We have a documentary on Queen's bands, as well as a special look at the Model United Nations meeting, which happened at Harvard over the break.
And also be sure to stay tuned for selected X-rated highlights from our Valentine's Day date, which happened last week at Saks Restaurant on Wellington Street. No, it's not X-rated. It was very nice, actually.
It was very nice. It was very nice. It was a little hot. It was a little hot.
It was hot. It got hot at times.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. But first, expect to pay more tuition next year. The Ontario government says the students can expect substantial increases in tuition due to last week's federal budget. With what this will mean to Queen students, here's Jason Durant with all the details.
As if the cost of going to school isn't enough already, Ontario University students will once again have to face a tuition increase for the upcoming school year. Blaming Jean Chrétien's Liberals' recently released federal budget, Ontario Education Minister David Cook has announced that increases in the cost of university tuition can be expected for next year. The announcement has sparked many protests from students and student organizations across Ontario. Their arguments are based on the increasing high cost of a post-secondary education and the difficulty many students will have in covering the raised costs for next year.
I'm a graduate student, so I do get quite a lot of funding from the university in my faculty. But in terms of whether or not it's going to be enough for me to come back next year, I really can't say. I mean, we're going to depend a lot on things like SHRC and OGS and that sort of thing, which gives something, but generally not enough to come back with.
AMS Academic Affairs Commissioner and President-elect Taz Pir Mohammed hopes that educational financial assistance programs will be adjusted to help students deal with the increase.
Well, I think that the provincial government is planning on reforming student aid at the provincial level and hopefully at the federal level as well. And I think that will be happening in the next year or two. So I think what they're working on is first the increase, then the reform to student aid, which we hope will be very soon.
What concern has been shown here at Queen's over the tuition increases?
Basically, we're organizing an open panel discussion with various groups from the Queen's community and from the larger community. The focus of the panel is to look at issues of accessibility and affordability in education.
Queen's Vice Principal of Resources, Rod Fraser, realizes the strain that increased school fees can have on students and outlines how Queen's will be able to assist those in need.
That any time there is an increase in the tuition fee, we will increase our scholarship and student aid budget by the same percentage as is the increase in tuition fees. So last year, with a 7% increase in tuition fees, we also increased our scholarships and student aid budget by 7%. So that has been a policy for the last several years.
The question, however, on many people's minds is, will the quality of education improve with the increase in tuition? Many speculate that in the future, university will only be for the wealthy students, and those who can't afford to meet the cost will be left out of a post-secondary education.
It looks that way. We're turning into the United States, basically, where only people who've got the money can go to a quality school. And hopefully it's not going to happen, but that's what it's looking for, like right now.
And what about continued tuition increases in the near future?
I think that depends clearly on the resolve. Well, it depends on two things. The resolve of the provincial and federal governments to get their deficits and therefore the debt under control, And then secondly, what is the priority that those governments accord to universities as compared with the priority they accord to, say, schools or the hospital system or welfare systems, subsidized housing and the like.
So for now, students must face the inevitability of an increase in the cost of schooling for next year. Unfortunately, this might just leave some scrambling for financial assistance. The issue of tuition increases is not just a problem facing students of today, but is also of major concern for the future of Ontario post-secondary education. For Studio Q, I'm Jason Durant reporting.
Still to come on Studio Q, the latest in our student documentary series. A lot of things have changed at Queen's, yet the school spirit still lives on. One of the reasons for it is the popularity of the Queen's bands. We take a special look at this Queen's institution, both past and present, later, only on Studio Q.
It looks like next year's AMS team may adopt some of the recommendations made by the efficiency audit intended to streamline student government operations. They have already reduced the number of service directors from 3 to 2. Gone also are the official names. From now on, Services Director A will be responsible for such things as Alfie's Pub, the Quiet Pub, and the QEA, while Services Director B will be responsible for such things as Studio Q, the Journal, and Walk Home Services. For those of you who are interested, applications for service directors or commissioners are due this Friday.
Kevin Rex is getting to be quite the foreign correspondent. In January, he filed Studio Q's first ever story from Down Under on an international debating tournament. Well, he's been at it again. Last weekend, he went down to Harvard to attend an international Model United Nations conference. And not only was he able to compete while he was there, but he's also able to run a video camera. And as it turns out, Queen's did very well in the award ceremony, so it's a good thing he was there.
Queen's is often referred to as the Harvard of the North. And while most of us were starting our Reading Week celebrations, a group of dedicated members from the Queen's International Affairs Association decided to check out the Queens of the South. On February the 17th, 43 students from KIA, the Model United Nations Club, boarded a bus destined for Boston and the annual Harvard National Model United Nations Conference, the largest of its kind in North America. Queen's has consistently performed well at these tournaments, and as a result this year, had the distinct honor of being the first non-American school to ever represent the United States. Queen's students showed their diversity, however, by also representing the small country of Gabon. After 4 days of intense debate over issues ranging from women in development to the crisis in Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Again, the kill came in from the south, moved it up into the north right now. And I believe we have a further map which will actually show you more detail of the city. We can actually see the developments there.
Mixed in with a little shopping, and of course the famous Canadian pastime of socializing.
What do you say? Cheers. I want to say Sarah, just the freak I've ever had. Lash, please.
The thousands of participants eagerly awaited to see who are the best diplomats in North America. And although Queen's won more awards than any other school there, the University of Chicago and Baylor College tied for best delegation, with Queen's running an all-too-close second. A special congratulations to the 15 Queen's delegates who won top delegate or honorable mentions in their respective committees. And so once again it seems that the small school from north of the border, that most of our neighbors to the south are convinced is in New York, has demonstrated its superiority in the Model UN Forum against some of America's finest institutions. It should be noted that students at many of the American schools, including Georgetown, Princeton, and the University of Pennsylvania, receive marks or actual credits based on their performance at these tournaments. However, Canadian schools seem reluctant to implement similar programs, and all of our participants do it just for fun.
A situation has been created whereby we could possibly see the outbreak of a limited-scale nuclear war. And I think this is the issue we have to address.
From Harvard University in Boston, I'm Kevin Rex for Studio Q.
William Gardner, a former Reform Party leader and author of The Trouble with Canada and the War Against the Family, spoke at KCVI on Tuesday night. His appearance prompted a protest by the International Socialists who claim that Gardner's books are racist, sexist, homophobic, and anti-French. This week was Arts Fest, now an annual tradition here at Queen's that celebrates talented artists within the community. Students sampled everything from dance to fine art from artists of all ages. They're here. Yes, the long-awaited 1993 Tricolor yearbooks have arrived and are on campus. This follows numerous delays caused by a variety of production problems. Get your copy. Distribution starts Monday at the Tricolor office in the lower JDUC.
University can be a pretty competitive place. People compete for everything from books to spots in courses, even sometimes seats in the library. But music? This month, Alfie's is holding their Battle of the Bands competition, which takes place every Tuesday. And our own Heather McDiarmid was there to check out all the action of the first week of competition.
No Star Search. That's this year's title of the annual Queen's Battle of the Bands, organized by QEA and Alfie's Pub. Rob Bolton, who is the QEA concerts manager and in charge of talent development, was the major organizer behind this year's contest.
Well, Battle of the Bands is about finding bands who are Queen students, or at least partially Queen students, who have been practicing in their basements and trying to get shows, and they're new and they're not established, and this gives them a chance to enter a competition and perhaps win some prizes and get more exposure.
This past Tuesday, Volume, Wholesome, and Yellow Belly performed in front of a host of judges. There is substantial variation in the judges for the 1994 competition, including local judges from Queen's Journal, CFRC, representatives from Funhouse Studios, as well as some people from out of town, including Grant Itzier from 13 Engines, BMG Records, and the A&R rep from Warner Music. Given the stiff competition, judges must closely observe several aspects of the band.
Exactly. First thing they're going to want is a lot of versatility in the band. They're going to want to see bands that are musically skilled is one thing, but it's not essential. Like, they don't have to be all incredible musicians. Like, if they've got a good stage presence, if they can put on a good show, if they have a good rapport with the audience, things like that.
The prizes this year are similar to previous years.
We've got prizes provided from the Funhouse Studios in Kingston. They're going to get time to record a demo cassette with the 16-track studio in Funhouse. That'll be one of the prizes. As well, a paid show at Alfie's Pub. The Inbreds won that last year, and later on in time they'll get time to play a real show, I guess, where they get money as opposed to this because they don't get paid. Also, there's prizes from Fender Music and Sunshine Music, which will be announced at the end in the finals on the 22nd.
The band Wholesome liked the idea of Queen's Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good idea. There's not much happening in Kingston. It's hard to get into the bar scene. Only 6 bands. I entered last year and didn't make the cut at all. But this year with 9 bands, it's much more fair.
And with 9 bands competing this year, there is even more diversity in musical styles. There will be everything from hard alternative to Celtic folk, so audiences are guaranteed to hear something they like. Yellow Belly were the victors last Tuesday. Next week, it's the Boob Tubes, Fat Spider, and the Plaid Daddies. And Tuesday, March 15th, it's Low Sea Monster, Thorax, and Seven. 3 bands will battle it out at Alfie's for the finals on March 22nd. Reporting for Studio Q, I'm Heather McDiarmid.
Welcome back to What's on Where with Kathy White. The Shot has cocktail action before the Arts 94 Formal this Saturday. Watch out for Tournament Tuesdays starting soon. And make sure to book your formal cocktail parties now. Alfie's is getting down on Thursday night with a rave. Friday is the night for Com 95 to get out and support your year's smoker. Saturday, don't miss the great talent of September Child and the Inbreds while supporting the Queen's Ballet and Jazz Club. Nymphomania starts on Thursday night at Dr. Gertie's. Come on down and find out what it is. Thursday night is also a phys ed mixer. Sunday, it's Mike and Mike Showdown and Bar Olympics. Don't forget, Dr. Gertie's has light night before 9:30 all weekend long. That's all for this week. Hope you have a good one.
Queen's University has always been renowned for its school spirit, whether it be at football games, homecoming, or Frosh Week. And one of the groups here that's always synonymous with that spirit is the Queen's Bands. In the latest of our Queen's documentary series, Victor Catano takes a look at the inner workings of the Queen's bands, pipes, and cheerleaders, both past and present.
My name is Brian Bull, and I'm James Mainprice. Collectively, we are the pipe majors of the Queen's Bands. I actually did kind of come into the pipes by default. My brother was playing before I was, and I got dragged around to all the Highland games and competitions as competitions and like, and decided that rather than sit around all the time, I might as well be involved in it. So I learned how to play the pipes.
Yeah, I've started Highland dancing at about age 7, and I've been dragged around to all the Highland games also. And just a natural progression from dancing to piping.
The pipes are perhaps the most important part of the band. It's the one part of the band that makes the Queen's bands unique from any other band at the university level. That's not to say that the Queen's bands aren't a unique organization without the pipes. They certainly are.
I'm Nora Cassidy Fruit. I'm Arts 49 at Queen's and came back to Kingston about 2 years ago, and I'm retired here now, which is wonderful. I was a cheerleader in 1946, one of the first group of cheerleaders after the war, the first group of cheerleaders after the war, Second World War. I trained the cheerleaders. I bought the material to make the skirts that were very short for the cheerleaders, and training was training the girls, the women, how to do cartwheels, because none of them did know how to do cartwheels. Oh, they were very, very basic. There was nothing gymnastic like cheerleaders do now, and great pyramids that they build. We weren't that bright or that skillful. We just jumped up and down and did cartwheels and queens, oil side of Banneker and Cabra. Nothing startling at all as compared to what the cheerleaders do today. I was finding somebody buying the material and finding someone, and I don't remember how I did that, here in Kingston to make these cheerleaders skirts. I bought the tartan. And I remember I had to be very careful about the cost, because we didn't have any money. And so the skirts were really bum teasers, much shorter than they should have been, I think. But I was trying to save money by not buying too much material. The other thing about the uniforms, we wore white sweaters with the tartan skirts, but in those days it was difficult to find colored underwear. And so I went and bought just plain white underwear, and I was living at the principal's house, and Principal Wallace, who lived in Summerhill, what's now Summerhill, as a student. And I took this white underwear that I bought, and I bought a dye, and I went down to the great cast iron tubs, or whatever they were, in the basement, and I dyed the underwear red, gold, and blue, so that the cheerleaders would have, the women would have different colored briefs under their very short little skirts.
Harlan Simpkins, drum major of the Queen's Bands, 1993-94 season. I joined the bands in my first year, back in 1990, I guess. And I joined because I saw them marching around during Frosh Week, and I thought they had a lot of spirit, and I thought, geez, I'd really like to be in that group and go to all the football games, so I signed up. When I first joined, I started off playing the trumpet in the back of the band in the red tunics, and had a great time back there. I thought it would be a great end to a great band season to be the man in charge, and to try and keep all the spirit going in the bands, and to try and keep some fun, as well as to try and get some order in the bands, try and get decent halftime shows, make the band start sounding good, and joining in on the Queen's Band's Booster Club. Hopefully we can get the band looking good as well as sounding good, and hopefully I can pass that on through my year. It is a great time, and it's great to have a lot of power and be able to call out the tunes and have everybody listen to you, because nobody normally listens to me, so it's fun now. We want to make sure that we get an excellent halftime show for Alumni Weekend, and just make sure that everybody has a good time, and make sure that the band's always stays a good time and everybody has fun with it.
memory for me. It'll be playing at closing ceremonies of Frosh Week. There's just something that doesn't. There's nothing that quite compares with marching into Grant Hall, and with Grant Hall packed to the rafters with screaming first-year students. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
Special memories? They're all special. Every weekend's a different experience, and one is no better than the other. They all are building on each other, and every year gets better. I mean, I can't really say there's one specific weekend. Every weekend there's something new and something different that you wouldn't expect to happen, and it's always interesting, and it's always a good time.
One of the most important things I think a person likes to feel is that something that they helped or worked with when it was getting started is being carried on, and it just suddenly doesn't disappear. The Queen's Pipe Band is an unusual organization. I'm really thrilled to come back here and find people who are young, who are really interested in it. Obviously, they're good musicians, and it's a real thrill to come back here, find this this organization moving right along.
Store, what is it, Princess Donuts? I think that's what it is. Princess Donuts, right by Lito's. I guess that would be it.
On the roof of my house, I guess. Studied once there.
My washroom, maybe?
The stairs of the library, because it's quieter.
I have to say, like, restaurants and stuff like that. Like, fast food places and stuff like that. Like, maybe an A&W's.
I guess would be the inner tube playground at junior elementary school.
In the library.
The strangest place?
Yeah, because we'd never go in the library though. What is it, courtyard at Matt Corey? Is that what it is?
Sure.
Sure.
South Australia in a bush hut in the center of a wildlife reserve.
The Cuban jail?
Probably in Kingston Hall. It's like this tiny little room. It's about the size of a closet. And you go in there and it's just close the door. It's really kind of creepy inside.
Actually, for me to study at home is pretty strange.
Clark.
I tried the library today. But it didn't quite work because everyone's at Queens' Keening and every single table in the library was taken.
De vreemdste plaats waar ik ooit van mijn leven gestudeerd heb is in het bureau van mijn vriendin.
In Matt Corey, in one of the rooms, and it was 3:30 in the morning, and everything was locked up, and we were locked in there.
It's just sitting in a tree.
In the shower.
How do you study in the shower?
Well, what you do is you laminate your notes, and then you put them up on the wall, and you study like that. I find it really effective because, you know, I just like to maximize my shower time and my studying time. I'm really keen, so I like to do that.
Matt Corey with the fire alarm going. So you better cut it, and we're gonna leave.
Next week on Studio Q, Arts Formal 94. The tuxes are rented, the dresses are bought, the wait is over, and Studio Q will be there to catch every second of the action so that you won't have to remember a thing. Get your VCRs ready as we catch the last hurrah for the class of 94. Next week, only on Studio Q.
Hi, this is Joe Byrne for Studio Q Sports. On the ice, the men's hockey team battled against the U of T Blues in the OUAA Mid-East Divisional semifinal. The Gales lost 4-1, but Dan Brown was selected first-team All-Star. In Nordic skiing, the women captured third at OWs, while the men at OUs clinched third place. At the OWIAA Volleyball Championship, Queens played Lakehead in the bronze medal match, losing 3-1. The York U women defeated the Toronto Blues 3-1 to clinch their 5th consecutive championship. In curling news, Queens captured the 1994 curling title, completing a 16-team round robin at Brantford Golf and Country Club, posting a 5-0 record. The fencing girls competed in Ottawa over the break. Western took their 2nd straight championship, with Queens a close second by only 3 points. Queens won the sabre class, while Hank Cordell won the George Tully Trophy for style and sportsmanship. At the rink, the women's hockey team captured 3rd place at OWs, with Stacey Harvey named first-team All-Star. That's it for sports. I'm Joe Byrne.
Well, that's it. Another great episode of Studio Q. Thanks for watching. But before we go, it's giveaway time again here. And this week we're giving away a family-sized pizza from our brand new corporate sponsor, McDonald's.
Welcome aboard there, McDonald's.
Welcome, Ronald. So the question this week is, give us the theme for the Arts 94 formal this week.
And if you know the answer to that, please call us at 541-1040. And you will be the lucky owner of a family-sized pizza.
Family-sized pizza. And also, for those of you who who have to pick up your prizes,
yes,
come by.
Spinners. Please call 541-1040 and yeah, pick up your prizes.
Yes.
By the time that smoked meat sandwich found a home. We want a home for our smoked meat sandwich.
40 days old.
We're working on 40.
And as usual, if there's any comments or questions, why not call us at 545-6699, or you can even write us. Our address is Studio Q, room 22, John Deutsch University Center, Kingston, Ontario, K7L3N6.
So if you're going to the formal, have a very good time. If you're not, have a great weekend.
And we're going to leave you, as we promised, with clips from our special Valentine's Day. We've edited out the X-rated parts. Yeah. We'll just leave you with the restaurant scene.
Yeah. It's still, you still watch it though.
It is still it's very good.
It's got a little scandal.
So this is our Studio Q Valentine's Day date. Thanks for watching once again. For Studio Q, I am Graham Abbey.
And I'm Teza Lawrence.
See you later.
See you.
How are you? I'm Heather.
Nice to meet you, Heather. Teza. This is our camera person, Marianne.
Hi there. How are you?
Monitoring the date all night.
Good. I'm just gonna grab my coat.
Okay, sure.
We're on our way to the date right now, and this is Dennis here. We're in the car, so we're trying to get the inside scoop on Dennis's date here, but we don't know much about her. And the fact is, we're late.
The boys aren't here yet.
We're lost. We're completely lost. Does anyone know where Wellington Street is? Whoops. Oh.
Yeah.
This is rather unusual.
Yeah, yeah. But no, we're just trying to make a little love connection. Do some good in this world.
Well,
Waiting.
Thank you for considering this.
We're now just about to approach the table, and this is the moment where the sparks are really going to fly.
Dennis, this is Heather.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
And I'm Teza. Nice to meet you.
I'm Graham. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Dennis, well,
Absolutely.
Congratulations on the Valentine's Day
congratulations, guys. Nice to meet you both.
Let's get drunk on Studio Q.
Yay! Thanks to Sax. So as it turns out, Dennis and Heather, you both know each other.
No.
Oh,
No,
but
no.
you know common
But he knows.
friends.
He knows.
I recognize her.
You recognize her.
I do recognize you.
So Dennis, man, what do you think of how's the date going so far?
I don't know, Graham, man. I think I'm in love.
Seriously?
Yeah, the calamari was delicious.
The calamari was a fine dish, but I mean, what about Heather?
Oh, Heather's terrific.
Yeah, she is good, eh?
So what do you think, Heather?
Well, I think everything's going pretty well.
Yeah, things are going really well.
Yeah, I could have got a geeky crush, but he seems like a nice guy.
And it's just too bad Teza's around, because she's really getting in the way, I feel.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can just try and get rid of her, eh? You know, like, we'll just tell her, we're just going for a minute and then just sort of ditch her. I think that'd be the best thing to do.
We can co-anchor next year.
Yeah. Sure.
There we go. We're taking your job.
Look out. How is it?
Yummy?
Yeah. Studio Q is brought to you in part by Procter & Gamble, proudly employing Queen's students for the past 30 years. And the Kingston Area McDonald's, featuring home delivery service. Just phone 1-800-663-2233 for all your favorites.